Senator Kennedy, then Senator Stabenow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor Myers, you are here at the invitation of my Democratic colleagues, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. In his opening statement, my good friend Senator Whitehouse said, I want to quote, reproductive justice is economic justice, close quote. Do you agree with that?
I might, as an economist, use the word rights, but yeah, I do agree with that.
Okay. That's not true for the baby, is it?
Well, first of all, I would refer to a fetus, not
Yeah,
a baby.
but that's, well, a fetus. I refer to it as a baby. That's not true for the baby, is it?
The evidence that I presented to you, Senator Kennedy, was evidence about measurable effects on the lives of women, families.
Right. I
and
got
children
that
who were
part, but that's
born.
not true for the baby, is it?
I'm sorry, I don't really understand.
Well, it's
the
not
question.
true. Let me be clear.
Let me
I'm
back
sorry.
up. As an economist, I measure effects using data. I'm not here to talk about ethics, assignment of
Right.
personhood. That's not my
Well, but you
role.
said you agreed with the chairman's statement that reproductive justice is economic justice. There is no economic justice for the baby because the baby's dead, right?
I wouldn't refer. I don't really know how to answer your question. I would.
You know,
I would refer to
was
a
the baby
fetus.
dead or alive?
We're referring to a fetus.
Okay, is the fetus dead or alive after an abortion?
The fetus would be dead after an
Okay,
abortion.
all right. If the mother is healthy and the baby is healthy, do you support abortion up to the moment of birth?
So I think that's a really hard question to answer because that just doesn't happen. You're asking me about something that simply doesn't happen.
Well, it's legal.
I will tell you.
It's legal in Vermont, New Jersey, Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, Alaska, and the District of Columbia, and the Loon wing of the Democratic Party supports abortion up to the moment of birth. So, do you support that or oppose it?
I don't think. Let me say, I'm here to talk about the economics of abortion.
No, you're here as an expert.
And I
what
think you're asking me a
believe.
question as a person, which I'll answer as a person.
Okay, tell me as a person.
I will tell you as a person that I have ambivalence about abortion. I will tell you as a person, I haven't personally had an abortion. And I will also tell you as a person looking at the evidence around me and understanding how complex the decisions are that people face.
Okay.
I'm just simply uncomfortable
I got to move on,
thinking that there's a
Professor, 'cause I don't
simple
think
answer
you're
that
going to
applies
answer
to
my
everyone.
question.
I trust women and their healthcare providers.
Yeah, it's real simple. You either support abortion for a healthy mother and baby up to the moment of birth or you don't. And I don't think it's a difficult question. How about you, doctor? Do you support, if the mother is healthy and the baby's healthy, do you support abortion up to the moment of birth?
So, Senator, you're using really inflammatory language to talk about a medical procedure, and it's not a simple yes or no. Not to mention, when you make statements like that, you're erasing the grief and the trauma that my patients
You're not
are
going to answer my
through.
question either, are you?
It's not a question that
I
can
think
be answered
I think I
in an
know your
appropriate
answer.
way.
I think
Senator.
I know your answer. Mrs. Ford, okay? Let's take a baby at 21 weeks. Hold up, Mike. This is a baby at 21 weeks, okay? The baby can feel pain, right?
Yes.
And the baby's pretty developed, right?
Yes.
And do you know the name of the procedure that the doctor would use to abort that baby at 21 weeks?
I'm not a doctor, but I believe it's a DNR.
It's called dilation and evacuation. And then the doctor would take what's called the doctor would call it a Sofer clamp. It's really a pair of pliers with sharp teeth on the end. And without giving the baby any pain medication and start tearing the baby apart. Is that right?
As far as I understand the procedure.
Yeah, and she might start with the legs and pull them out and the arms and pull them out, right? and then she might go for the heart or the spine and just pull the baby out piece by piece. Is that right? Without giving the baby pain medication.
That's what I understand the procedure to be.
Okay. So then the doctor would go in and use those pliers to crush the baby's head. Is that right?
As far as I
And
understand.
then she'd pull the head out, the crushed skull out. Right?
Senator Kennedy, your time has expired here.
Well, you
and
gave
Senator
you gave
Stabenow
the
is
others
waiting.
plenty of time, Mr. Chairman.
Just letting you know, your time's expired. You have
Okay.
other senators waiting.
Well, I was waiting when you were letting others. I'm sorry you don't want to hear about what happens
No, I don't think anybody
in
else
an
is going
actual
to- I don't think
abortion, but
anybody else
I
is going
thought that
over.
was what we were here to talk about.
Chairman Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hamilton, did Joe Biden cause this problem?
Yes.
He not only caused the problem, he told us he was going to cause the problem, didn't he?
He absolutely did.
In the Democrat debate in 2020, here's what then candidate Joe Biden said. Migrants should, quote, immediately surge to the border. They took him up on his offer. So the idea that the Democrats say, oh, no, it was Trump who caused the problem. It's Republicans who caused the problem. It's climate change that caused the problem is BS. Joe Biden caused it, and he told us he was going to do it. And what has that resulted in? 8 million migrants coming into the country in 3 years and 47 days. 8 million. And we're on pace to get to 12 million. That is the magnitude of the problem. Mr. Hamilton, has that magnitude of that volume of individuals coming to our country, has that put a strain on the United States, on communities and everything else?
Absolutely. Anyone can look and talk to mayors, talk to local communities, talk to governors, and see the results themselves for
Has it
themselves.
put a strain on
through their words.
schools?
Yes.
Remember in New York when they told parents, your kids can't come to school today because we have to put migrants in the schools. They're going to have to learn remotely.
Correct.
Did it put a strain on hospitals?
Yes.
How about law enforcement?
Yes.
All kinds of law enforcement concerns, not just the attacks on law enforcement, all kinds of other concerns, right?
Correct.
Concern on safety in communities around our country, not just on the border. Did it put a concern on safety? How about municipal budgets? Is there a concern there?
Yes.
Because of this problem that Joe Biden told us he was going to cause and actually caused? Have migrants died in this journey coming here because Joe Biden told them to surge to our border and come into our country?
Yes.
Kids,
Yes.
women, all kinds of terrible things happen to them.
Absolutely.
And then back to your opening statement. Have Americans died?
Yes.
Laken Riley, Kate Steinle, and others, right?
Correct.
That is the magnitude of this problem, and we're on pace. We're on pace to get to 12 million in the 4 years of Joe Biden being president. I tell people often that is equivalent to the entire population of our state. And we're a big state. We're the 7th largest state in this great country. 12 million people. So here's where I think we're at. We know the cause of the problem. We know the magnitude of the problem. What's the solution? Seems to me we call time out. Seems to me we say no more. Let's just stop. Let's not exacerbate the problem. Let's just say time out. And I've advocated for a simple sentence that I want you guys to comment on. I've advocated for a sentence in an appropriation bill that says no money can be used to process any more or release into the country any new migrants. What do you think about that, Mr. Hamilton?
I think that would be a wonderful idea.
And don't you think the American, I've never seen, in my time, I've been in politics a few years now. I don't know if I've ever seen an issue with this intensity. We got a time with record inflation. We take your family out to dinner in the Biden American economy. Right now, you take your family out to dinner, it's $300 just to take your family out for a nice meal in this Biden inflation world. But what's the number one issue in polling across the board? It's the border. That's how intense this issue is with the American people. And maybe we should just say time out. Let's stop now. What do you think, Mr. Holman? Should we do that?
I think we need to secure the border and save lives. And bottom line is, I understand one of the congresswomen met with separated families' parents. Did she meet with Laken Riley's parents? How many of them met with, we got angel moms and dads by the thousands who separated from their families, but they buried their children because of the open border.
I'm all for securing the border. We passed good legislation a year ago that would do that. What I'm saying is when the problem is this, when the magnitude of the problem is where it is now, you know, the old line, when you're in a hole, quit digging, right? Like let's quit making it worse by allowing more and more people to come into the country. Maybe we should say time out and then focus in on securing the border, of course, but just stop the influx that we've seen. That's what I'm asking you. Do you think that makes sense now?
We have to stop the influx.
Yep. Mr. Arthur?
Mr. Chairman, it's clear that we have to stop the influx. This is unsustainable. In fact, President Obama did an interview, former President Obama did an interview on ABC, Good Morning America, back in September 2021. And he talked about the humanitarian concerns, and we're humanitarian people, that we have instincts for that. But he noted the fact that open borders are unsustainable. Mr. Chairman, right now we're seeing the unsustainability of open borders. Cities and towns across the United States. I live in North Carolina. We don't really have a whole lot of illegal immigrant problems. But the people in North Carolina, when they're polled, say it's a huge issue. My neighbors, they tell me that it's a huge issue because they're feeling it everywhere.
Joe Biden caused the problem. He told us he was going to do it. The magnitude of the problem is so egregious. It's the #1 issue on the minds of the American people. And the solution to the problem could be with Congress. If we would just say, we're not going to fund the processing and releasing of any more migrants into the country. That's what we could do. Short of that, we're going to have to wait for an election, hopefully have President Trump win so we can get back to a chief executive who actually will enforce the border. With that, I yield back.